It's time for the RPM Podcast, starring Eric Brennan.
I like lemon parties.
Sam Ballard Jr.
All right, that's it, young man. No Bible stories for you tonight.
Nick Rendo.
Yeah, I would rather have a bigger one.
Scott Riggleman.
That guy's trash, and I want him off our screen.
And Josh Matthews.
He doesn't need those doctors.
And here we are, Here we are again. The RPM Podcast, episode 140. It is Monday night at 9:10 p.m. First, I want to start off and apologize. We weren't able to do a show last week. A lot of people came up to me in track and asked why. And I said, well, just like in real racing, we always blame the spotter. So because of Tim Riggleman, we were not able to broadcast last week.
I was the only one ready to broadcast last week.
Tim's always ready. He don't care. Let's do it at midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. He doesn't care. But no, I was real busy on the race cars, getting the race cars ready. Josh had a bunch of doctor's appointment. Still doing some stuff for his cancer. I guess it's just preventative maintenance. Josh, how are you doing over there?
Biopsies. Biopsies. Just to check and see where everything's at. So I'll get results sometime next week.
So I'm Scott Riggleman, the host tonight of the RPM Podcast, because Eric Brennan is MIA again. We have been talking to Erica, in our private messages. He's just unable to come on. He does say he's sorry, and he does miss us. He does love us. He's a mushy type guy, So we're doing it without Eric Brennan tonight. Maybe next week we can get Eric back on the show. I'm at the Edge of Divorce Motorsports Studios in Manchester, New Jersey. My brother Tim, spotter for Eric Goodell on the NASCAR Modified Tour. He's up in his Farmingdale studios. Hey, Tim, how are you doing?
I'm good. Ready to go.
All right, cool. And Josh Matthews.
What's up?
Cancer patient and producer of the RPM Podcast.
I can do a lot of things.
Yeah, not well, but you can do a lot of things. He's down in Waretown, New Jersey, and no storms in our area tonight. I mean, the last couple of nights we've been having storms, so we should have no problems with power outages or anything. And
I hope not.
Josh updating his wiring on the porch, so we shouldn't have any problems there.
Yeah.
Did you get that done Memorial Day weekend? You said you were going to.
I think I figured out exactly where the source is, and it has to do with my microwave. So. Yeah, I think we got it sorted out.
We just want to apologize about not doing the show last weekend, and of any week of racing, we picked the wrong week to not be able to do the show. I mean, it was on the biggest race weekend, coming off the biggest race weekend, of the year is the Memorial Day weekend with the Indy 500, Monaco, Coke 600, area racing. Real quick, I just want to say that I did race Sunday of Memorial Day weekend down at Bridgeport on the 3/8 mile. It was the inaugural event for 8-cylinder enduro cars on the 3/8 mile track, and I was able to win that race. And when Bridgeport announced a few years ago that they were putting a 3/8 mile track on, I'm like, what for? You already got a quarter mile. You already got a 5/8. How are you going to fit another racetrack in there? And I was kind of against the idea, but, when I'm wrong, I admit it. And I tell you what, that track is awesome. That 3/8 mile track, they stuck in between the quarter mile and the 5/8 mile. It's probably one of the best dirt tracks I ever raced on, man. It was so smooth and so wide, and it has banking to it. It's so fast, man. It was such a great time. And there's no walls. Like, it's kind of like a safe track. I mean, if you got problems, you just pull off wherever you're at. There was cars like in the modified races, they come out of second turn, start breaking up, and they just make a right turn off the back straightaway and go off to the back straightaway onto the 5/8, and they're out of the way, Real cool track. I was nervous that the lighting wouldn't be any good. It would be hard to find your corners because it's not marked out that great. But I was totally wrong. The lighting's awesome. They put in some temporary lighting for it. They do have they call them Uke tires. I always call them big tractor tires, in dirt racing. But now I'm becoming such a dirt racer. I'm learning their lingo. They call them Uke tires. They have painted Uke tires on the inside, and they have like these orange poles, kind of like flags in the corners to mark out the track. And the visibility was great, and you can really tell where the track was. And man, you can see the flagger perfect. It was a great track, man. It was a lot of fun. And unfortunately let so it was cool. Anyway, it was cool for me to win the inaugural 8-cylinder race, enduro race there, ever run there. So now I do have a win on the quarter mile and the 3/8 mile at Bridgeport. Unfortunately they did have a race last weekend unfortunately for me. I was leading the points down at Bridgeport, but I had to be at Wall Stadium, so I missed last week. And Lee Allen won. Lee Allen always gives us crap for not mentioning Bridgeport, and Lee Allen did win down there. So congratulations to Lee Allen for winning that 8-cylinder race. And we do have another race this Saturday, which works out perfect for me because I also want to start to show off to remind everybody that Wall Stadium is having their big drift event this weekend. So they won't have the local racing at Wall Stadium this weekend. So I'll be down. Me and Nancy will be down at Bridgeport on Saturday night with our 8-cylinder cars racing down there.
Now, do all 3 tracks at Bridgeport have the same racing surface?
Clay-wise?
Yeah.
You know what? I think they do. They look similar. Like I said, I ran on the quarter mile before, and the clay itself seemed very similar.
Okay.
They do a pretty good job of maintaining their
I
tracks
think they
down
do the whole operation down there is nice. It's still got that old Flemington Fair feel to it when you go there.
It really does. Because it is big. It's a big track. Yeah. It's spread out. Only complaint I have about Bridgeport Speedway, not so much on the grandstand side, but on that back pits along the woods, man, you get eaten up by mosquitoes back there.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, mosquitoes are horrible. So if you do go down there, bring bug spray because you need it, or you're going to get eaten alive by mosquitoes. And then a trick I did, I was afraid to spray bug spray on my fire suit. It can't be good, right? Like spraying bug spray on your fire suit, it's got to make it flammable, right? So I stayed in my street clothes as long as I could with bug spray on. Then I did put my fire suit on, and I was getting eaten up. I said, you know what, I'm going to spray bug spray on it. And when I sprayed the bug spray on me, I got a black fire suit. I looked down at my fire suit after I sprayed the bug spray on me, and there was white lines where I sprayed the bug spray, Whoa. Oh my God, this stuff's not good for fireproof underwear. But when I washed my suit, it came out. But I was just like, man, but yeah, the mosquitoes are bad down there. I mean, there's nothing the track can do about it. It's just the place is built in the wetlands, kind of like on the edge of the Delaware River down there across from Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. But it's a great place. I mean, if nobody's doing nothing this Saturday and they're jonesing because Wall Stadium's not going to be open and they're drifting, you're more than welcome to come down to Bridgeport and check it out. They put on a great show with modifieds and sprint cars and sportsmans, and the whole night was a great night of racing, man. And then the 8-cylinders coming at the end of the night. I really enjoyed it down there, and I can't wait to get back down there this Saturday.
Now, Scott, that middle track there, does it have kind of that drop off berm just like the inner track?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly the same thing. And some people are like, oh, yeah, it's hard to judge the back straightaway because there's no wall. But like you said, it gets soft up top. When you're off the racing groove and getting close to the edge because it gets soft. So it gives you a little warning that you're getting too high up on the track.
Right. Otherwise, if there's, just like we talk about with asphalt racing, if it's paved, you can race there. Well, if it's dirt, you can go there. It's just not going to help
I'm telling you, Josh, you're missing out on all the fun. You got to get your car done. Even if you don't want to go to wall, you got to go do some dirt enduro racing with me. I'm really having a great time doing it. And Nancy turned the corner on it too. At first, she really didn't like it, and now she's really starting to enjoy it. So it's a good time.
All right,
good bunch of guys, too. That's what makes it fun. We didn't get a lot of cars at Bridgeport. I mean, Grandview, we get a lot of cars. We had 27 cars at Grandview. Bridgeport, we had 11. Unfortunately, we did have a couple Pennsylvania guys come, but unfortunately, we try to get more of the Outlaw Enduro Series guys to come down and race with us. The problem is they don't have the safety gear we have. Their cars don't pass the New Jersey State inspection, and they don't have Hans devices and stuff like that. That's why it scares some of the Pennsylvania guys away. But like I've said before, I don't care where you race, you should have the proper safety equipment. If the state wants it or not, you should have it anyway. So any PA guys, Enduro guys, and listen, buy the gear and let's come racing in New Jersey. Make your car New Jersey safety legal, and then you're good to race anywhere you want.
Yeah, the belts aren't too expensive. Just get them. The Hans, I know it's a significant initial expense, but it's worth it. And
but you know what? Now that the Hans has been out for a while, you can look for used ones. Mm-hmm. You can get them cheaper. There's people who got out of racing, they want to sell their Hans device for 50 cents on the dollar.
That or the next gen.
The next gen's a good option too. That's a cheaper option, But I mean, all that stuff is out there now used. A few years ago when they made it mandatory, you had to buy new because everybody had to buy it. But now it's been out for a while. You can start looking around for used stuff, to save a couple dollars,
Yeah, I love that story you were saying when you showed up for that Enduro, Scott, and you had your Hans device and your regular fire suit, and everybody thought that you were some big time racer.
Yeah, and I felt like an idiot, but I don't care. I have the stuff. I'm gonna wear it.
It's that one time you don't wear it that you
Yeah.
wish you did.
Yeah, I mean, it can't save your life if it's in your duffel bag in the back of your pickup truck. You know what I'm saying? Put it on. Yeah, I don't care. Let them laugh. I'll be laughing well, no, I wouldn't be laughing, but I'll be laughing if they wreck and get hurt and didn't have the stuff on. Be like, you should have your stuff on. Buy it.
Yeah.
Buy it, and you can always sell it if you get out of racing. Just resell it. I mean,
Yeah.
the stuff's out there. And touching base on that real quick. I know we're starting way off the dock already, but I mean, what brings this topic up also is there was a huge wreck down in I think it was Greenville Pickens, in the Mass Street Stock. This stands for Mid Atlantic Street Stock Tour. They had a huge wreck down there where the guy was sitting alongside the wall and the yellow didn't come out right away, which is crazy. That guy was sitting there forever. I don't know why the yellow flag wasn't off, and everybody was going low past him. And one guy came off of the turn and was riding on the wall and never saw him and rear-ended him, just like it looked like the old Cup style wrecks back in Darlington in the 50s and 60s. Fuel cell exploded, caught fire. The guy wasn't wearing racing gloves because they're not mandatory down there, and he got injured, and it's a shame. And if you climb into a race car, just have your safety gear on,
That's where a spotter would have helped Josh Matthews.
Yeah.
Well, I think a yellow flag would have helped.
Yeah, yellow flag would have went a long way. And Tim, you are right. A spotter would have helped in that situation. Of course it would, but sometimes the drivers got to take it into their own actions. The wreck was in front. Everybody else saw him. This one guy didn't see him and ran right into him. It's a shame. Another thing I did notice
That was a terrible wreck. That was a terrible wreck. I hope they said that guy's pretty beat up.
Yeah. And they do have a GoFundMe out there. I don't know if Josh, if you can find any information on that. They're trying to raise like $25,000 when it first came out today, and it was only up for like 15 minutes. They already had like $1,500 raised.
Wow.
So another thing I noticed about that deal too that might have went against that guy, his car was painted like a primer gray and like black.
It matched the wall, right?
Yeah, it really, and the pavement, it was a very dark blended in color. You know what I'm saying? It was like the color of asphalt. It was like a charcoal gray, and with no shine, just like a primer, and so you can't really blame the guy that hit him all that much, because I'm sure it was tough to see it.
And it's funny you said even like on the modified 200, there's an influx of there's so many black race cars anymore.
Yeah,
it's hard to see them.
Yeah, I mean, I've painted my race cars black forever, and now I find, just out of a whim, it was Nancy's idea. She wanted to paint her car a Merlot color, because she likes drinking Merlot. And she's like, why don't you paint your car like a blue or something this year? And I'm like, yeah, all right. I always considered me the black 09 forever, and more people consider me the blue 09 because it had so much blue into it. So we went with a blue paint scheme, and I was kind of glad I did, because next thing you know, Timmy Steffen's painting every race car black, and it's like, see, I told you it was good to get to the blue,
So I found the GoFundMe here. It looks like they have $545 raised out of a $10,000 goal here. Medical aid for the Minders family. We'll share a link to it. I actually found a news article with a up close shot of the car or the wreck after, or the aftermath, and what I can only say puts me to shame. The car that ran into him was a red 57.
Oh, Jesus.
Just reminds me of running into another car.
Your teammate.
My teammate exiting the track during practice.
And Josh, that's another reason why you got to race again. You can't end your racing career on that bad of a note. You know what I'm saying? You got to get back out there.
Yeah.
I say it to Glenn Osborne all the time. Glenn Osborne had a great racing career, and they had not a mechanics race, but they had a past champions race at Wall Stadium one day in the factory stocks, and Glenn was a past champion. He won the modern stock division, I think, a long time ago, in like the early 80s, and he wanted to drive my car because that's when before my weight loss surgery, and I was a big guy, and he's a big guy. He knew he could fit my car. and I was more than happy to have Glenn drive my car. First, Glenn's a great guy, one of the nicest guys in racing. And number two, he owned a junkyard, and his family owned a junkyard right next to Bloats for years, and they always gave people parts and everything. So it's a good way to pay it back, or play it forward, or pay it forward, whatever they call it. So I said, yeah, Glenn, I'd love to have you drive my race car. And he went out and he won the race. So that the last time he raced, he won. So now I'm like, hey, Glenn, last week I'm like, Glenn, I'm going to go run Wall Stadium. Why don't you, take my car to Bridgeport? I said, oh, yeah, that's right. You won the very last time you raced, so you might as well just leave your career at that. You know what I'm saying? But Josh, you have the opposite effect. You wrecked the last time you raced, so you got to get back out there.
Scott just keeps pushing me to get back out there, so I think he misses racing with me.
Josh, I'm just telling you, I know your style and your budget and the way you race, and I'm telling you, this enduro dirt racing I've been doing, it's you, man. It fits you to the T. This division is made for guys like you.
Okay.
I just think it's something you could afford to do, and I think it's something you could do well. That's why I think it's perfect for you.
All right. I just need to find some time, get the motor out, rebuilt, and put it back in, and I think I need to get a new trans. And then I should be able to put it.
Maybe you should call it quits then. I didn't know you were in that bad of shape.
Well, the trans in there belongs to someone else. And, so I got to find a trans that'll work or get one rebuilt and then, go from there. And then a few other things and maybe get it tweaked a little bit. But then
I got a quick Scott Riggleman transmission story I can tell real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Nancy's transmission did blow up in her car up in Grandview, in her dirt enduro car, and it's a turbo 350. Same ones we run at Wall Stadium. I have 3 turbo 350s behind my garage. Just pulled out of junk cars. Whenever I get a junk car, I peek my head under there if I think it might have a turbo 350 in it. When I recognize it as a turbo 350, I bring the car home, pull the transmission out, put it behind the garage, junk it. So I'm like, well, I got 3 back there. I don't feel like buying a brand new transmission from my carrier or something. I don't feel like spending the money. It's just a dirt enduro car. Let's just take potluck and see if I can use one of these junkyard transmissions. I called Jerry Koenig. He rebuilds transmissions out on Long Island for a living. Just wanted to pick his brain and what his thought, what I should look for and what I should do to it on my own before I had to put it in. And he's just saying, I just put drop the pans down, look at it, see if there's any metal in it before you do it. I'm like, all right, yeah, that's a good idea. So I go behind my garage, 3 transmissions all lined up. So
you told this, I think, last week. Metal. Did I? Metal in the pan? Yeah.
Did I tell you?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, real quick. I started at the wrong end of the line because I pulled the transmissions up front one by one, and they all had metal in them until I got to the last one, and that one was good. Well, now I can tell the rest of the story. We did put the transmission in, and it did work fine, and she raced with it, and it worked great.
Good.
I just put a new pan gasket on it, new tranny fluid, new filter, and the thing's working great. So sometimes you get lucky.
Well, or unlucky.
All right, so let's get to NASCAR. Let's talk about Pocono a little bit. First, I want to talk about the crowd at Pocono. I mean, from the ground level, at first, I'm like, wow, they got a great crowd. But, of course, when they show you from, the blimp or plane or whatever from the aerial view, there was a lot of empty seats. But, once again, Pocono always battles the weather. I think they had a great pre-sale of tickets, but they might have lost a little bit of their walk-up crowd because the weather was so iffy up there. Mm-hmm. And it ended up being a really nice day, and it ended up being a pretty good race also. So it was glad to see them get their event in without having any rain problems or anything like that.
I know, just for Saturday night, there were. I know Atco had their Night of Thrills going on. Wall Stadium had their racing with the Demo Derby and all that, and there's a lot of places calling for thunderstorms, and then a lot of places end up being fine. But no, I think Asbury Park, there was a girl that I follow that plays guitar there. She had to cancel her show because of the weather. And
I tell you what, Mahoney Valley, which is right down the street from the big track of Pocono, they canceled their Saturday night racing program. I know Bethel, that's in upstate New York, in the same town where they had the Woodstock Festival. They ended up canceling. Mm-hmm. There was a little bit of threat of rain at Wall Stadium, but it actually cooled off nice at Wall Stadium. I tell you what, the track was fast and the air was cool, so it was a good night of racing over at Wall. But they even announced at the drivers' meeting they were going to try to rush the show along because threat of weather coming in at 8, 9 o'clock, but it never did. So yeah. racing over there.
But I could see why some people would have been scared off from Pocono because of the weather. Just, I mean, it was hit or miss.
Me and Nancy kicked the idea around of waking up early and shooting up there because our feature got over at 8:30 at Wall Stadium. We got done early. I said, hey, man, we can go back to the camper, get a good night's sleep, and jump in your car in the morning and shoot up there and go watch the races. But her company was having a big barbecue, and since we got out of Wall Stadium early, we went to her work function, and we were only supposed to be there an hour. But
well, you know how that
getting
goes.
to a party, you're not getting her out of there. We were there.
Yeah.
But going back, I mean, the only disappointing thing about the Pocono weekend, I mean, we're all huge fans of the ARCA series, and I always talk about how I always loved that ARCA race at Pocono. It used to be one of my favorite races of the year. It's a dream of mine to always try to go and race that race also, and it's just never happened. Unfortunately, they only had 18 cars, so that was real disappointing. I don't know what's going on with the ARCA division. I don't know if people are scared off by the merger with NASCAR for next year, but man, 18 cars at Pocono on the 2.5 mile track makes for a boring race. The only cool thing about the ARCA race on Friday, I don't know if you heard about this, Josh, but if you bought an empty can of Monster Energy drink, you got in for free.
Oh, that's cool.
And kids from 12 and under were free. And if you bought a Monster Energy can, you got in for free. So people that were there can't really complain. They got to see like cup practice and qualifying in the ARCA race for the cost of a Monster Energy drink. So
yeah.
that was pretty cool. Kudos to Pocono for doing that. I'm sure Monster was behind it too.
I think that's an
deal.
Excellent promotion, and
yeah.
I could see where you're coming from with it being a boring race with only 18 cars. Now, do you think maybe some of the teams, because Pocono, there's not really any easy wrecks. I mean, like when you wreck at Pocono, it's usually a pretty devastating impact, as we saw with Bubba Wallace and even Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon going back a few years. Like brakes have been a problem, and just pounding the wall. So do you think any of the ARCA guys were worried about the equipment just not standing up to that track?
I'm sure there might have been a couple, but that's what they've been averaging at all the races, not just Pocono. They've been from anywhere from 18 to 22. That's basically what they're getting. Yeah, that's basically what they're getting now. But now that you bring that up, how crazy was it in the Cup race? Did you notice what was breaking on cars in the Cup race, Josh?
The drivers?
No, steering boxes. When have you ever heard of steering boxes breaking on a race car?
John Bowers.
Well, I'm talking at the Cup level.
Then I can't remember the last time.
Yeah, they were. I mean, Denny Hamlin had one break in practice. Martin Truex Jr. was having problems with his steering. Kevin Harvick's steering box broke. I think what they're doing, they're making them so small and light now that they can't handle the abuse, and now they got to back it up a little bit and start beefing them up a little bit more. But I've never heard of steering boxes breaking in the Cup level where 3 or 4 cars lost one during the race.
Did they? Was there any specification as to what failed within the steering box, or
they didn't get in depth with that? They might have after the race. You talked to a few people, but I turned it off as soon as the race was over.
Okay.
But they were just speculating, like Darrell Waltrip and Gordon were just saying that that the boxes are getting smaller, lighter. They're cutting off the excess metal and everything, and and
so maybe just
pipes.
shearing like a tooth off or something off of the worm gear.
Well, no, I think it was more like the box itself, like the housing.
Oh, okay.
Where the bolts go through the chassis to hold it to the chassis,
Okay.
of course, Darrell Waltrip was like, man, I used to race. We used to use them off trucks, So it's just going from, back in the old theory when Waltrip was racing was, don't worry about the weight, make it heavy duty and strong, and then make it to 500 miles. Now everybody's so weight conscious, they're probably just shaving more and more and more off and making them smaller and a little more lighter weight. And you could be right, Josh, and it could be something in the gear ratio inside the box they were making lighter too that could have been breaking too. It's something I like to look in and see what happened, but it was kind of weird that they were breaking steering boxes up there.
Yeah, I like what you were saying with DW there. I mean, they wanted to go to a lot of truck suspension parts just because they would actually hold up to beating the crap out of them for these long races.
Back in his day, it was more like an endurance race where you built them to last. Even if you gave up a few horsepower here or a few horsepower there, you didn't care. You wanted it to last. Now it's just like they're working in such a tight box, and and they're just trying to make everything
Well-
lighter just to gain that little bit of advantage.
I know Eric Graham, one of his biggest complaints is that you don't see motors blow up anymore.
Martin Truex is dead.
Yeah, well, it happens a lot less than it used to.
Yeah, a lot less.
So, I mean, yeah, maybe the engineering has gotten better and the manufacturing processes, but like
Plus
now,
the metals, the oils. I mean, that's another thing too. The metals are so much better. The oils are so much better.
yeah. So it's kind of a product of how much are they pushing it, and now they're pushing apparently steering boxes. And then last year we were looking at all the brake failures at Pocono, and
It's just weird when there is problems. It happens to more teams than one. Just like remember the axles were spitting out for a little while.
yeah,
You know, it's just what happens is like a steering box company like Sweet or somebody comes out with a lighter box and tries to sell it, and a few teams bite on it and buy it, and next thing you know, everybody's breaking. You know, what I'm saying?
there's your product testing right there.
Yeah, there it is.
What else have we seen fail? Well, you can go to Formula One and all the tire problems they're having at Indy that year.
Well, also too, I remember a while back. Remember, like the people's shifter handles were breaking for a while. Like, so that was something else they were trying to make lighter and lower and smaller.
Now I saw something. Well, I remember. I think was it Earnhardt? He had the shifter knob come off
a few times. Yeah. Then he's trying. Remember they show him inside the car with wrenches trying to bolt another one on. So he's like under yellow and stuff like that.
Well, this actually ties into Alex Bowman. Apparently he had to hold the thing in gear for the end of the race.
Yeah, back in the day they would jump in through the side window and wrap it up with a bungee cord to try to hold it in place.
Yeah, so he was trying to. Apparently he screwed up or broke something. He said he got lost looking for turn 4, and that's when he screwed up a shift. And yeah, I mean that's what he said in a tweet anyway. But he ended up having to hold the thing in gear, and that caused more problems and headaches. And yeah, so other than that, I mean, I didn't think it was an incredibly exciting race.
It was pretty good, though. I tell you what, the restarts were exciting, man. They were going 4 or 5 wide down into turn 1, man. It was pretty exciting, man.
Well, if you go to the Xfinity race, that finish was pretty good. That last couple laps there in overtime, and the pass for the lead. Who cares about spoilers? But losing the lead and then getting it back on the final corner, coming to the line, that was exciting.
Yeah. Who won? I like the Xfinity cars at Pocono. I'm glad they're part of that weekend now.
Yeah.
Who won the Xfinity race?
Cole Custer.
Yes. And Reddick had. He was fast on the restart. He dive bombed through and took the lead, but then I don't know if he bobbled or just didn't have the grip or what in turn 3, but Custer got back under him and passed him coming up to the line. I mean, it was.
I tell you what, now that we just talked about Cole Custer a little bit, I have a feeling he's going to be at the Cup level next year at Stewart-Haas, and I think it's somebody like Amarillo or Suarez might be replaced by him.
Now, Priest didn't have the best day.
I tell you what, are we talking about Xfinity still?
Well, just overall, I don't think it was his best week. I mean, he got 4th in the Xfinity race. Yeah, so that worked out. But
touch base on his Dale Jr. Xfinity cars. How cool did they look? They had Klondike bars on the one car, and Ryan Priest was racing a Planters peanut car. And they looked awesome. They were like the coolest looking race cars I've seen in a while. They told the Klondike bar, the top of it was silver and the bottom of it there was like a black stripe breaking it up, but there was blue on the bottom, it looked like the Klondike bar wrapper.
Yes, yeah,
it looked so cool. And then the Planters, it was a beautiful blue color with the Planters yellow and the Planters Peanut Man on there and everything. It was totally cool looking cars. It was great sponsors they bought to Pocono with the Xfinity race.
I watch through the app on the Fire Stick now, and all I know is the Klondike bar commercial keeps playing over and over and over during the commercial breaks.
Really?
With that Anna Faris.
Klondike must have had some money on the Fire Stick deal, huh?
Yeah, something. So,
God, I miss Klondike bars, man.
You're not allowed to eat them, right?
They still make them.
I know they still make them. They make them. They make them better now too, don't they? Make them like caramel and pretzels
There's
and stuff.
very many delicious varieties of Klondike bars.
Rub it in, Tim.
I tried cheating on my diet a couple of weeks ago with ice cream. Oh, it didn't go well.
Oh.
I'm not a huge ice cream fan, believe it or not.
Nancy brought Friendly's ice cream home, and I used to love Friendly's ice cream. And I'm like, I'm going to try a little bit of it, and I was eating it. It was going good until I got about halfway through it, and I'm like, oh boy, I'm in trouble.
Who was just up by Hot Dog Johnny's the other day?
I saw Eddie Morrissey
Eddie. Okay, yeah. He posted just the picture of the sign or whatever, and then that thread.
Tim placed his order, and I thought your order was a little high, Tim. You asked for 4 regular hot dogs and a birch beer or something like that. Is that what you're going to get when you go there?
A bag of fries.
Oh, and a bag of fries. That's right. Yeah, that's
I have 3 children, you know.
Oh, I thought you were just getting it for yourself.
They weren't with me, but I have them.
No,
Josh, have you ever been to Hot Dog Johnny's?
Yes, I have. Up in famous Buttsville.
Buttsville.
Yep.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would get 2 for myself.
Yeah.
The original style, which is onion, pickle, and mustard.
Yeah, they're good.
I wouldn't do the onion. I would love a chili cheese
And
dog.
I've never had it there, but they have buttermilk there.
No, don't drink it. I had it
There's
there.
actually there's people in line.
Horrible.
There's people in line that actually go there and get 2 gallons of buttermilk, and that's all they get, and they leave.
My son Thomas would drink it because we were just talking about Harry Potter before we went on air, and I guess buttermilk or whatever was butter beer or something was popular in the Harry Potter thing, so he thought it was cool that they had it there, and he would order it and he would drink it. And one time I took a sip of his, and I'm like, oh my god, that stuff's horrible.
I never had it.
Oh god, it's nasty.
But the birch beer is good there.
The birch beer is real good there.
I could go for a birch beer.
In a frosted mug.
Of course.
Well, once again, we go off the rails, off of racing and on the food.
And it wasn't me this time; it was Josh. So let's go back to Pocono. Who won the Cup race?
Who do you think?
Kyle Busch, of course.
Yep.
And I tell you what, that's a big win for Kyle Busch, and I'll tell you why. He's sponsored by M&M's Mars, which is right down the street in Hackettstown on the other side of the Delaware Bridge there. Not far from the track. It's probably only about a half hour, 45 minutes for him. I know he always goes and stops there at the M&M headquarters and goes through the factory and meets everybody. So that's a big win for him because that's his main sponsor's hometown. So
wait. Does this win count though? I mean, I thought he quit last week.
Yeah.
And it's also a big hometown win for Tony Hirschman too. So
yeah, that's right. He lives in nearby Allentown there, not far from the track too. And his family raced up that way at Mahoney Valley and Evergreen for years, and they still do
Pocono.
And Pocono. Yeah. So, and he's a former guest on the RPM podcast, so he's avoiding the RPM podcast curse. So, congratulations, Tony Hirschman.
Now, I have one thing from Pocono. Did you notice if they were fixing up the road course at all? We were going to keep an eye on that. I
didn't see anything from the overhead shots.
I wasn't, but I mean, a lot of talk, for Larry McReynolds was saying it a lot. He has a feeling that next year it's going to be on the NASCAR tri-oval the one day and the Roval on the next day when they do the doubleheader. I hope not. I'm not a big fan of that Roval stuff, and I like to see both races on the tri-oval. But I guess we'll wait and see. I have a feeling he's right, though. I have a feeling that it's going to be on the one race on the tri-oval and one on the Roval.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm gonna hold my breath and see what happens.
They should put the small track back in and do one on the big track and one on the small track.
That'd be cool.
And then the modifieds can race there again.
Yeah.
What happened? My audio got all funky for a second.
Josh, I used to race modifieds on the big track at Pocono.
They did?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Me and Scott were there when we were little kids.
Yeah.
I guess I shouldn't be surprised. How long ago was that?
I think the last time it was 80, right? 79.
Yeah,
80.
late 70s, early 80s. Yeah, 80, 81, something like that.
And then they switched to the 3/4 mile, which was a great race. All right, so that's NASCAR. Where are they going this week, Josh? Where's NASCAR at this weekend?
I have no
Watkins
idea.
Glen, maybe. Where do they go from here?
I have to-
Michigan. They go to Michigan after Pocono, don't they?
I didn't have that pulled up. I had all the results pulled up, and Scott likes throwing curveballs at me.
All right, go ahead. Let's do the results. And while you're doing the results, results you're talking about NASCAR results?
Yeah. Well, Keselowski finished second. Eric Jones with a solid run, finishing third. Chase Elliott managing to, not wreck in fourth. Clint Boyer with a top five. It's good to see him run well. I know he's been having his last good run was what, Martinsville? Or his last win was Martinsville, right?
His last win.
Yeah. Let's see. Logano. What was the deal? Logano and Bowman were upset. Or Bowman was ticked off at Logano. Did anybody see what that was about?
Nah, the only thing I saw about Logano all day is they made a big deal of him dropping his sunglasses when they were riding around on the back of the truck for the parade lap. Did you see that, Josh?
No.
He looked down to look for something, and his glasses fell off, and they fell onto the racetrack.
Jeez. Stenhouse, he brought. Oh, that was one thing that made it exciting at the end was Stenhouse hitting the wall with 14 to go, and bringing out the yellow.
It's kind of a shame too. I know everybody puts Stenhouse down, calls him Recky Stenhouse, and all that stuff. But I tell you what, those Roush cars were running better. They were running pretty good in that race. Him and Newman were pretty fast during the day. They were hanging around the top 10 all day.
He was doing all right until but when something breaks or whatever, it breaks. He ended up in the wall. So let's see. NASCAR's website is just right now. There we go. So where were we just at? Okay, Pocono. Yep, going to Michigan. You were right, Scott.
Yeah, Michigan.
It'll be an interesting. Michigan is there was a game I used to play called Kart World Series. It was like for the original PlayStation, and Michigan and Fontana were almost identical.
Yeah, well, they were both owned by Penske too at one time.
And the thing was, I think if you look at it, Fontana is a little bit less of banking, I believe, but otherwise the tracks are 2.5 mile. Oval, or tri-oval, and they ran very similar with that game. So
are they 2.5 or 2? I think they're 2 miles.
Is it 2 miles?
I think so.
Maybe I can click on this for more information. I thought it was 2. The number of pop-ups they have here.
I tell you what, Michigan sometimes usually ends up being a fuel mileage race and not very exciting. They do get spread out there, but the one thing I like about Michigan is the speeds. I mean, they're always over 200 miles an hour over the end of the straightaways there.
It's
going into the turns.
It is a ridiculously fast track.
Yeah.
I remember back when Fernandez was involved in that wreck in the kart race, and the suspension parts went into the stands. Then they ended up raising the fence after that.
Yeah. By the way, the best game for the original PlayStation was Destruction Derby with the circle track in it.
Actually, Destruction Derby and Destruction Derby 2. Paul Page did the voice for that.
Did he?
Yeah, or at least for the second one.
Destruction Derby 1, I have many laps around that oval on the original game.
God, how bad that seems now.
Which I do believe is probably still in Scott's room at my mom's house in the basement. I'll have to see if it's still down there.
The original PlayStation, back when I had time to play video games. Oh, well.
There's a place in Red Bank, New Jersey. It's called Yestercades.
Okay.
And it's one of those places where you go in there and you spend one flat rate and you got unlimited play. They actually have couches in there with TVs, and they have all the old school video consoles. And you can sit in there and play all the old games and stuff. It's pretty cool.
Where is this?
Red Bank.
Red Bank. Okay. Yes. All right. I'm gonna have to make a date night and go there.
All right. Michigan International Speedway is a 2 mile. Moderate banked D-shaped speedway located off of U.S. Highway 12 on more than 1,400 acres, approximately 4 miles south of the village of Brooklyn in the scenic Irish Hills of southeastern Michigan. So I was right.
Yeah. Scott was right. I was wrong. My bad.
It's one of those boring races.
But it's a cool track. It's a shame that the racing product isn't a little bit better. But we'll see what happens with this package. I mean, maybe it'll be a little different. Maybe. I don't know. The Xfinity race at Charlotte, by the way, I thought it was a pretty decent race. Fair amount of passing.
Somebody said it because the new rules package with the Cup guys at Charlotte, if they would have had this rule package just a couple of years ago, the Roval would have never happened because the racing is better now.
Mm-hmm.
There wouldn't have been a need to try to mix it up and throw them down on the Roval. Oh well.
Yeah, too late. Hindsight's 2020. Speaking of 2020, IndyCar will be going to an aero screen. They're going to be.
I like it.
That's in the works with, I believe it was Red Bull is funding a lot of that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So looks like a Halo style frame, but with a Lexan screen around it.
I like it. I think it's a great. I think it's a great thing. I really like the design of it.
Mm-hmm.
There's still no top on it, so it's still considered open. But like you said, the frame and the Lexan is so high, the helmet stays underneath it,
Yep.
and behind it. I love it. You know what? I think they should do it right away. I don't know why they're waiting for 2020, but I like it, and I think it's really going to save some lives.
I think no matter what, it's going to be way better than that little fin that they have sticking out of the thing now.
But did you notice, too, even with this new Halo and the Lexan, they still left the fin in there, too? Did you see that?
I didn't notice that, no.
Yeah, if you look at the picture of it that they put out, that little shark fin is still in there. It's still behind the Lexan. That $7,000 6-inch shark fin is still there.
I mean, I guess if it's not hurting anything...
But if that little shark fin's $7,000, what are they charging for this windscreen that they're calling it? That's gonna be like $30,000.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, that's right up there with the steering wheel price. Did you see how Fernando Alonso broke his steering wheel in his practice crash?
No. The only thing I noticed about the Indy steering wheel during the course of the Indy 500 was a meme of Danica Patrick holding up the steering wheel, and she said,
"You're looking for the OnStar button or something."
Yeah, all I know is this button calls the tow truck. I tell you what, she looks smoking hot though on Indy 500 day, man. I know we were off last week.
I think I've said this before, and I not to interrupt you about her, but I think Dale Jr. did an excellent job on what he had to do on there too.
I thought you were going to say you thought Dale Jr. was hot.
No, he's hot too, but.
I tell you what, Danica looks smoking hot, but she's got to be careful. She's getting on that borderline where her arms are getting too muscular. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, boy.
Like, yeah.
I want Eric Brennan's opinion on this.
He'd say Dale Jr.'s hot, too.
The best part about the Indy 500 coverage is when him and that other guy were looking for the bricks in the river.
Rutledge Wood.
Yeah.
Did they find any bricks?
Oh yeah, that's no secret that they're in there.
Well, what's the story? Is that where they dumped the bricks?
Then they got rid of all the bricks. They dumped them in the river.
Oh, really?
And people go treasure hunting, and I guess over the years, there's certain spots that they're not there anymore. But they brought Dale Jr. to a spot. He found quite a few.
How far is the river from the track, Tim? Do you know?
I actually think it runs through the track, if I'm not mistaken.
Really?
Yeah.
That's well, back when you could get away with just dumping stuff anywhere.
Yeah. But they definitely found some.
That's cool.
They brought them home, I guess.
Sign them and sell them on eBay for a couple million.
I tell you what, Dale Jr.'s been doing some pretty cool stuff with his new gig with the TV. I think he's really doing a great job.
His TV, his podcast, even the commercials that he does are pretty cool. TV commercials are pretty cool.
Did you see who his guest was last week on Dale Jr. Download podcast?
Stone Cold?
Yeah, Stone Cold Steve Austin. I listened to it. It was pretty good. It's pretty good.
Stone Cold's a big car guy.
Yeah.
Is he? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I know. Well, I mean, he obviously should have more availability to do all this stuff, but I'm wondering. I thought part of the reason he was getting out of the racing end of it was, just the drain. Sorry, it's such a busy schedule, but he's doing the same schedule now.
Yeah, but he's sitting in
Now
there
he's sitting in an air conditioned suite. He's not getting in a 100-degree race car.
eating hot dogs with Mike Joy and Darrell Waltrip.
I guess I just
like I said before, I was never a huge Dale Earnhardt fan on the track, but I think what he's doing now, he's doing all. I love his podcast and everything, and he like I said, he's digging for bricks. He's more worried, not worried, but more into the history and stuff like cool stuff like going looking for bricks or going to an old racetrack and walking around.
Well, yeah, that and his whole graveyard of all the cars. I mean, I think
like
that's
that,
just a cool thing to do. I mean, if you have
he's got that cool ghost town. He's got go-kart tracks. He's just a kid that grew up in racing and was lucky enough to have all that stuff.
He's just a guy that has way too much money.
It's kind of like a Michael Jackson of that.
Michael Jackson's Neverland Ranch, which is for sale, does have a go-kart track on it. So,
of course it does. Kids love go-karts.
Well, I'm sure if you and me would have went there, me being fat, you'd be skinny, I'd be on the go-karts, and you'd be upstairs watching movies with them, so I'd be okay.
With the secret buzzers and stuff like that.
Oh my!
Sweetie buzzer.
What did I start?
You want to talk anything about Monaco? Even that's 2 weeks ago. I didn't watch Monaco.
I watched the replay, and the thing is, it's a cool looking track, and it's a tight track, but it doesn't provide incredibly exciting racing.
Lewis Hamilton won?
I believe so. Hang on, where is it? Yeah, Lewis Hamilton over Vettel and Bottas and Verstappen and Gasly, and it's cool to watch a lap there, but the cars are too fast for that kind of a track. It's hard to pass even in the what is it, the carousel? What do you call that little corkscrew thing there? There's one or two spots to try to pass. Other than that, it's more of a novelty, I think, of a race than a true racer's race. I mean, once you're out in front, the one cool thing is that you don't have to have the most power there because you don't use all your power. I mean, you don't get to go top speed. So I don't know. I'm glad they keep it for tradition and all. I just don't think it's the best example of what Formula One can be. That's really all I have to say on that. What else do we have? Everybody watched the balloons at Indy, right?
I did not see the balloons at Indy. I missed that.
I saw them.
My favorite part.
Yeah, they're supposed to be using like a new eco-friendly balloon that wasn't going to kill birds this year.
Kill the whales.
Yeah.
Apparently they fall in the ocean and the whales eat them.
Yeah. And let's see. I thought the balloons were stupid. And Eric Brennan's not here to defend it, so I'm right. Then King, when he came in for a pit stop, screwed it up a little bit, hit his tire and launched it into his tire changer.
Yeah, that guy took a pretty hard hit.
Yeah, that tire, I mean, like the tires, I mean, the whole thing doesn't weigh all that much, so all that energy from the car got transferred real easily into that tire to launch it right into his leg. I think they ended up carrying him off, I believe.
Yeah, I think he had a knee injury, right?
Yeah, or the hip, I believe it was.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like, it was like the upper leg, the thigh area. There were a few pit road incidents. A couple cars spun getting onto pit road, on the downshift. It was interesting. The one part I was afraid of was the fuel mileage talk that they started getting into towards the end of the race. But I don't know. I don't think Indy 500 is that exciting of a race. The pit road stuff was decent, but the on-track stuff wasn't anything particular.
I thought the last 10 laps were pretty cool. They kept passing each other.
Oh, the back and forth.
Yeah. And I was kind of, when the one guy passed the first time, when whoever passed the guy was in second, passed for first, I'm like, oh, that's it. It's all over. And it was weird how, like, they would drop back when, in cup racing, once they pass it, usually leader starts pulling away, that's it. You know what I'm saying? They were able to like get back. I don't know if they can trim the throttle or adjust the wings inside the car, but they could actually make them better again.
Okay.
It was amazing how many times they were able to catch back up and pass each other again. You know.
They did have the push to pass and all that, but
that's kind of weak to have. That's like playing video games like Spy Hunter and having like, I can press my button here to win the race.
Yeah, but it does add strategy because you don't want to use it up in the beginning. Just like a video game, you want to save it for the end, and it's pretty cool watching how people monitor how much they use it and stuff like that. It's different, you know.
And you could kind of say the same thing about the DRS for Formula One, depending on the track. You know how much room you have to use it. But it's the same thing. Instead of adding power, they're reducing drag in the straight line portion. I don't know. It's interesting. Something I do want to get to. Eric Graham sent us more on the NASCAR side because of the Gen 7 car that's going to be coming out is hybrid technology.
Yeah, I saw that, man. Ugh.
What is that? The batteries?
Well, I mean, hybrid take it how you want, but it could be batteries, could be like a capacitor storage as well. But you could use that similar to the push to pass, or if you look at the regeneration,
But this all has to do with electrical cars, correct? Not.
No. Like Formula One has it, where under braking they can charge the. Well, at least they used to have it with the KERS system. So as they would hit the brakes, it would charge up batteries, and then they could use that battery power to give them a boost and extra horsepower. But it would run out quickly.
Okay.
I don't like it. I don't think NASCAR should go to it. I don't think they should add
You doesn't want to talk about, I guess, NASCAR and Honda are in talk.
Supposedly they met at Indy.
Yeah.
NASCAR teams at Indy. I'm all for Honda coming in NASCAR.
I'm not against it. And then, if I was 10 years ago, I would have been like upset with it. But as long as they build what they're supposed to build in America, it gives jobs and everything else. They're doing what they're supposed to.
Any flux of money coming into the sport is a good thing. I don't care where it comes from anymore.
Well, all right. So one thing that, and I think Eric Graham had a good point on this. The whole point of motorsports, and especially in IMSA, you'll see this, is like with the prototype series or division, you're pushing the limits of the technology. And if you want NASCAR to be at all relevant to stock cars that you're going to get from dealers, you're seeing more and more hybrids now. I mean, I can't tell you how. It still weirds me out a little bit, but I'm getting used to it. A car next to me at a traffic light.
Oh, it shuts off and turns back on?
Yes, you hear it start. I'm like, who shut off their car? And no, that's what they're doing. They're saving fuel, and then how many Teslas I see up by where I work. You're going in that direction of the hybrid and having batteries. And if you're going to have car companies, whether it be Chevy, Ford, or Honda, or Toyota, that are having their stock, let's say Ford Fusion or whatever, is going to be a hybrid, then you might as well push that technology on the racetrack. And they're looking at building these Gen 7 cars to have room for this technology so that the guys don't have to rebuild a whole car around it. And I think that's the right move. So that way all the cars will have room for it. So when they start implementing it, it won't be as much of a shock. But if you're going to test these technologies, I mean, a racetrack is a great place to do it. Or your R&D department there. And if it's going to be what's part of stock, then...
That's what I was going to get to say. The old philosophy used to be win on Sunday, sell on Monday.
Yeah.
That does play an effect, but then again, now if these guys put all this money into it, look at all the research and development time they get. They practice and qualifying and racing. It's a huge amount of time. So it does work both ways.
I mean, look, I still love what I grew up watching with, these Horkin V8 engines and, like
Every,
with the factory stocks and the Enduros and all that. I love that, and that's not going to
everybody
change.
smoking Winston cigarettes and drinking Budweiser beer on TV.
Yeah, and that's how it's always going to be in my head, the good old days. But if we're going to look at the sport going forward, I think it has to happen. I'm not saying it's going to go all electric or anything like that. Maybe at some point in the future, but
So what are you going to do when you go to the racetrack for the first time and it's no longer the official fuel Sunoco of NASCAR? It's going to be Duracell, the official battery of NASCAR.
uh, you're gonna. Well, I mean, it was Gulf for how many years, and it's been Sunoco for quite a few. Maybe it will be Duracell or Energizer. I mean, or maybe you'll have competing battery manufacturers because of it, and I don't know, or who makes deals with what, or who mixes and matches technologies. It'll be interesting. It's another area to play in. I'm not saying it's going to be the, coolest sounding thing. You're going to piss off a lot of diehard fans and all, but. They already went to these digital dashes. They went to electronic fuel injection. I mean, it took them forever, but they did. They're changing things. And
So what do you think is the next step in line
for NASCAR,
for technology in NASCAR? Yeah, what are they going to let in next? They're not going to go to a battery powered car anytime soon, I don't think.
no, I don't think that. But I could see. So like, what if they did like how a lot of cars have the full-time all-wheel drive?
Okay.
How would that affect it? I mean, that would change handling wildly.
Didn't they try that? Not in NASCAR. Wasn't there some? There was some division that Scott. You remember we were younger. There was some division that they tried a four-wheel drive car on, and it didn't work out so well.
Oh, I'm not sure.
I forget now. I'll have to look into that. If somebody remembers what I'm talking about.
Well, it works in rally racing. I'll say that much.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, that would be a crazy wrench to throw at it. I don't see it happening right away, but I think you'll probably see just more computer-based operations for the engines, and possibly an electric motor in addition to the gas motor. That way, as they hit the brakes, it recharges these couple batteries, and then when they come off the turn, they can use those batteries to add a couple horsepower.
I mean, if you got to do it, you got to do it, but that's a lot of extra weight. Another motor and batteries and a charging system.
Yeah, but now you can put them where you want them.
Well, that depends on what NASCAR lets you, but
yeah,
or we'll worry about that when we get there.
It's something to think about, something to talk about.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I think we bored our listeners enough. Let's move on to the local stuff. That's what everybody tunes in for anyway.
Yeah, we'll skip IndyCar at Detroit.
We can touch base on that real quick. I like that track with the big fountain and all that stuff. That was a twin race too, wasn't it?
Yes.
Wasn't that a double bill?
Yes.
Did the same guy end up sweeping it? Because that usually happens.
No, hang on, let's see. Well, Marcus Ericsson, coming from Formula One, made his first podium finish in IndyCar. So that was a noteworthy bit there. Scott Dixon got the second race. Joseph Newgarden got the first race.
Okay.
So yeah, it was separate winners. Newgarden, so he won the first race, but got the pole for the second race, but wasn't able to hold on to it. And Dixon took the win there. So, yeah, I didn't get to watch it.
Quick update on Marco Andretti, how bad he finished.
I can probably find that.
That's a pretty cool track, and they I know they had rain overnight, and they had problems with the water seeping out of the tire barriers, and they had a delay before qualifying on the second day, and they got to talk to Roger Penske a little bit, and I listened to a little bit of that. It was pretty cool. IndyCar is also doing some shuffling around on their schedule, like NASCAR is doing too. And Roger said they can't really move that race later into the year because it's on what's it called, Belle Island or something like that. What's the name of the place that track's at?
I'm not sure.
All right, whatever. It's famous for having like weddings and stuff, and they can't get into wedding season or something like that. So they got to race before the weather gets really, really nice up there. Yeah. So I thought that was a pretty cool side story.
Let's see. Marco Andretti finished 16th in the first race, and where is he? 6th in the second race.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Didn't see that coming, did you?
Yeah. I'll have to dust off my Marco Andretti T-shirt tomorrow and wear it around town. Another rumor I'm hearing is I heard Penske's might be going to 4 cars next year, and he's trying to steal Rossi away from Andretti Motorsports.
Really?
Yeah. And they asked Roger flat out if that's true, and he didn't shy away from it. Well, he did shy away from it, but he didn't say no. And he did say that he's definitely going to have 4 cars at Indy next year.
Okay. So do you think that's going to be a trend that we might see where we're going to end up sending more cars home?
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
I wonder how McLaren's big party went at. Did they say anything about that or no?
No, there's actually they have a YouTube video, and this was basically from McLaren, and they were highlighting their screw-ups or part of it and just saying what a tough time it was, and they're going to come back next year, and they're going to work harder at it. It was
cool.
They basically kind of admitted it was a rush job, and they planned poorly, and that's why they failed.
Oh,
so, like they're owning up to it.
I have an IndyCar question.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Bailey. It was either Bailey or Alexis, but I think it was Bailey. She wanted to know if the milk that they drink come from a special cow.
I don't believe it's.
I think she has pictured in her head that there's a cow that lives in a nice barn somewhere with like rug and carpet.
No, but it's definitely always in the same bottle, isn't it? Like a Indy 500 bottle.
I wonder if it comes from like a special.
Well, I do know that one driver had soy milk.
Oh God, they should have took the win away.
Disqualified.
He was lactose intolerant. That's.
I don't care. You can take a couple sips. I ate half an ice cream the other day. He can drink a couple sips of milk.
So Josh, we're gonna see if we can find out if where the milk comes. It comes from a special cow that gets selected every year or something.
All right. I mean,
I'm sure there's a backstory. Did you see? I hear computers shutting off already because people are waiting for the local stuff. But did you see they make a big deal about bringing the green flag to Indy too? They fly it in a helicopter and stuff like that.
I saw that. Yeah.
I did not see that.
Yeah, they got some crazy rituals there.
I wonder what the famous racetrack food at Indy is. I picture like those big pterodactyl legs that you get, those big chicken.
All right. Drinking of the milk. 3-time Indianapolis 500 winner Lewis Mayer regularly drank buttermilk to refresh himself on a hot day and happened to drink some in Victory Lane as a matter of habit after winning the 1936 race. So that's how it started.
What if they come from Hot Dog Johnny's?
Yeah. So that's how it started.
An executive with what was then the Milk Foundation was so elated when he saw the moment captured in a photograph that he vowed to make sure it would be repeated in coming years after Lewis Meyer there. It doesn't say where it comes from.
Now it comes from the good folks at the American Dairy Association in Indiana.
There was
who are in charge of delivering the bottles on race day.
Huh.
Why does the winner drink milk? We already talked about that.
There was a period between 1947 and 1955 when milk was apparently no longer offered, but it was revived in 56.
All right, here you go, Tim. Is the milk that's used for the winner from a special or specific farm? Spokesman Jenny Browning told us that the milk is purchased locally. Although she couldn't specify the brand, she did say there are special square quart glass bottles used, that those bottles are engraved for the winning driver, team owner, and chief mechanic. That's what I mean. They have a special Indy 500 thing.
So it's just sourced locally.
Yeah.
Bailey pictures as a cow in a princess barn somewhere with a hat on and sitting in the air conditioning and.
Yeah, I don't think it's that special.
Can drivers request a specific kinds of milk? Yes, they are polled each year and asked for a preference of type, although no flavors are allowed. That'd be cool to do like a chocolate milk or a strawberry milk.
Yeah. We'll get to this. The modifieds are going back to Martinsville. Somewhere locally to Martinsville, there is a dairy. One of the crew members that goes with us was originally from Virginia in that area. And you go there, and they have flavored milk. They got like orange creamsicle, chocolate, and strawberry, all different kinds. And it's so good. It comes in those old glass bottles. I'll have to get some of that when we go to Martinsville.
So, 2017 Indianapolis 500 milk preference poll. Fernando Alonso won at 2%. Marco Andretti went whole. He might as well not even ask for anything because he wasn't going to win. Ed Carpenter won at whole. Helio Castroneves won at 2%. James Davison didn't carry, no preference. So it was either fat-free whole or 2%. That was your choices. Really, you're taking 2 sips of it and spilling all over. Who cares what it is?
Yeah.
Here you go. What if a driver is lactose intolerant and you fire him?
So you act like you drink it, spit it out. Do you know what I mean? Like, come on.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm not going to say what I was thinking. Never mind. Staying away from that.
God, we get off so topic. All right, we just hit 15
All right,
minutes.
local. Go to local.
500.
People want to know that kind of stuff, man.
Right,
I have a quick story if you want to.
Go for it. Can't get any worse, right?
It's got to go with local. If you want, we'll start with the modified tour race I was at.
Okay, that's good.
I was at, we were at, Seekonk, and somebody came up to me. I was in the spotter stand and gave me watermelon icy. Apparently, Seekonk has lemonade icy and watermelon ice.
Okay.
I forget the name of it, but that's what they're famous for. So I got a free lemonade, free watermelon ice from an RPM listener in Seekonk, Massachusetts.
All right.
It was
You saw
really
it at
good.
the track?
Yeah, that's what the track. That's what everybody go. That's the famous thing at that track is
Cool.
is the frozen ice.
Josh, you sent something out. It was called the trash can French fries or something. Where was that from?
I think it was in that post. I got to find it.
All right.
Yeah, but
I don't. Tim, tell us a little bit about Seekonk while Josh is looking that up. How was the race up there? How was the weather? How was the crowd?
The weather was warm in the pits, pleasantly, and had a nice breeze and in the grandstands. The place was that place holds a lot of people. There was a good attendance there, better than I thought was going to be there. The race was okay. It wasn't a crash fest or anything. Unfortunately, we got knocked out on lap 1.5. Somebody ran in the back of us and pushed the Nerf bar in the bumper, and I was on the phone with Goodale right before we started doing the podcast. He told me when they went in the pits to pull the Nerf bar back with the crowbar, the Nerf bar fell off the car. All the bolts were broken. Ugh. So they actually had to put another Nerf bar on the car to go back out. You have to have all your Nerf bars on when you go back out. Mm-hmm. If anybody's ever worked on a modified with a bent Nerf bar mount,
nothing lines up.
It's not so easy. And we ended up losing 12 laps, which wasn't horrible for what they had to do.
Situation like that, you're better hitting a track welder and just have them welding it on.
They might have, yeah. And we came back out, and we ended up where we ended up. The race up front was good. Doug Kobe ended up winning.
That's 2 in a row for Doug Kobe?
No, did he? No, he didn't win Wall.
Oh, Wall was your last race?
I think so. Yeah, Wall was our last race. And then we race again this Wednesday, 2 days from now.
Wow, that's a quick turnaround for you guys. You head into Thompson next, right?
Yes.
Well, hopefully your luck will change.
Tell us
about your trip home from Seekonk, Tim.
Okay, I'll get to that. Wednesday, the hubbub is that Ryan Priest will be there Wednesday racing. So
in the tour?
Yeah, on that Thompson.
I heard the tour and the Sunoco type.
Oh, I'm sure he's racing the SKs too. Yeah, I'm sure of that. If he's there, he's racing both if he's allowed to.
Oh, that's cool. I did notice on his Facebook, on his private Facebook, he did drive that hauler to Pocono.
Yeah, I saw Glenn Dixon posted a picture of him going down the road. Man, that's cool that he does that, but that's got to be a tough long ride in that thing, man.
Yeah, so he drove his modified hauler to Pocono. I guess he's going right from Pocono back up into Connecticut with it, and he'll be at Thompson on Wednesday.
Yeah. So my ride home was it was me. Jimmy Blewett gave me a ride up there. He had nobody really to ride with him when he told me he was looking for somebody to ride with him, so I rode with him. His spotter, Josh, but Anthony, what, Bazula? Is that his name?
Brazella, yeah.
Yeah, he rode with us.
I'm trying to get him back on when we have a more organized episode.
And on the way home, Jimmy drove. He's got his adrenaline going, and I'm like, when your adrenaline stops, I have no problem driving. I drive every other time we go. I go myself, and he's like, okay. We got to exit 8 on 84 in Danbury, and he's like, all right, I'm ready to pull over. And there's a place off of exit 8 that I know. It's called Fast Freddy's. It's like a little mini rest area, and it's got a Dunkin' Donuts in it, and it had a Subway, what they're putting in Nathan's in there. It's got a nice little bathroom, and a lot of people don't know about it. So it's easy on, easy off. Nobody in there to bother you. So we go in there, and me and Anthony go in. We go to the bathroom. We get our drinks, and we're hanging out. Jimmy's still in the truck on the phone talking to people about Wall Stadium. So about 15 minutes go by. I drink my drink. I go over the window. I'm like, Jimmy, you going to drive or you going to get in the passenger seat? So he gets in the passenger seat. I get in the driver's seat. Of course, I got to move the seat back and the steering wheel up so my fat ass can get in there. I go to put it in reverse, and it's not running, but the key's on. And I'm like, Jimmy, the truck's not running. He's like, yeah, it is. I'm like, no, it's not. And the key was on. He was like, the key's on. I'm like, no, but it's not running. So I shut it off and turned it back on, put it in reverse, made it about 10 foot back, and installed again. Jimmy's like, what are you doing? What are you doing in my truck? I'm like, I don't know. I just got in it. It ain't running. So the fuel pump went while we were sitting there. So I didn't get home until 5:30 in the morning.
Oh.
But I talked to Jimmy today. The truck did make it back to the junkyard. And,
Yeah, I saw it sitting over there.
And you're supposed to get a phone call tomorrow to bring it somewhere.
That's fine. I can take care of that phone.
So he wasn't exactly sure where he was bringing it yet, but he said he was going to make some phone calls in the morning and then call you, and you're going to take it from there.
So unlike Josh, Jimmy Blewett knows that Riggleman tows cars.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
I deserve
so
that.
Timmy's a little recap on the modified tour. We're trying to rush along here because it's getting late.
I'm pretty sure that those fries are because they're called Trickies, and it's the Tricky Triangle. It's
Okay.
at Pocono.
Okay.
So
And it looked like a big bucket of fries with cheese and like cheesesteak topping on it. Like it looked like a cheesesteak
Yeah.
on top of it.
yeah, oh yeah, it's like yeah. So it would be the cheesesteak with I guess it looks like the white American cheese,
Yeah.
and just kind of plopped right on top of a bucket of fries.
I tell you, it looked good.
Yeah.
That white American cheese is good when it's melted. It's not so great when it's not melted.
Right.
Blake Barney, I think, ended up 11th or 14th at Seekonk. And then Jimmy was right behind him.
Yeah, it wasn't Andrew.
Andrew was there. Andrew was very strong in practice, but he qualified horribly. Like he was like 22nd in time. And actually, they sent cars home, Scott. This is the first time in a long time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that they actually had to send cars home. They sent 3 home.
They sent them all. 3 more can fit out there. Throw them out there.
Apparently, they talked about that, and the track promoter's like, no, that's it.
Oh God, man! I hate when they start sending cars home like that.
It was
out there.
It was the 78. They sent home the other Wade Cole car.
Okay.
He went home, and there was a local driver there that had, I guess, got a modified put together, and he didn't make the race either.
God, I hate that. But I guess you got to draw the line somewhere. All right, moving to Wall Stadium. This is what everybody's been waiting for. It was packed track night. It was $10 to get in or something like that. A cheaper price to get in the grandstands. Usually when they do that, they give the modifieds the night off, so they don't have to pay the modified purse, and they can charge people less to get in. Great night of racing. Turned out to be a beautiful night. It even cooled off nice. They even did some makeup features too. I mean, it was really a packed night of racing. I mean, the late models had 2 features. Their regular scheduled race and a rain-out race. They also did that with the 4-cylinders. They raced twice. Their regular race and a rain-out race. real quick on that, I just want to welcome Ronnie Mullen back to Wall Stadium. Ronnie Mullen picked up a ride in the 4-cylinder division, went right out and won the feature. He told me, right? Ronnie Mullen was typical Ronnie Mullen, man. He was walking around 10 foot tall because after practice, he's like, Scott, I got a race car tonight. I haven't won in a while. I'm winning tonight. It's like he's got so much confidence in himself. He was peacocking around those pits, telling everybody he's going to win that race, and he did. He went out and won the race. Congratulations, Ronnie. It was good to see.
Whose car was he driving?
Jake Conrad's. Ronnie was also telling me. Ronnie told me an hour story in 2 minutes. You know what I'm saying? He's talking a mile a minute. God forbid if I tried to get a word in, but it was Jay Conrad's car. I think the guy's from Long Island. Ronnie was telling me real quick that it was the only rear-wheel drive car in the division that night. He said the thing was a rocket. He was turning like 15 nines with it. Said he was going to go out and win, and he did. So you can have that confidence, and Ronnie backed it up. Congratulations, Ronnie, for coming back to Wall Stadium and picking up a win. It was nice to see Ronnie and his family back in victory lane.
What happened in the second feature to him?
He said it was overheating or something.
Oh, okay.
The motor was blowing up.
I wasn't sure because we raced before that, and I was loading my stuff up. So
on social media, he knew going into the second one, it was either going to make it or not make it, and then it didn't make it.
He got the good out of it in the first feature. Then.
Yeah.
So congratulations to Ronnie. It's great to see you back at Wall in victory lane. They also had Demolition Derby there. They advertised the 4-cylinder one and an 8-cylinder one. All I seen was 8-cylinder demo cars, but they had like 12 to 14 of them there, and they were pretty well-built cars there.
That's a good count.
Yeah. I would love to sit here and say Sam Beller Jr. won, but he wasn't even in it, so he couldn't win it. But real quick, we got the factory stock feature finish here. We had a 25-lapper. It was won by Brian O'Shea. Second place was Tom Rajowski. That's a great run for Tom. Tom's a great guy. He's getting better and better every year. Elliott Wall was third. Nick Kilmer. Nick Kilmer is a dedicated listener to the RPM podcast. He was one of those people that messaged me on like Tuesday. Where's the podcast? Then he messaged me again on Friday. Did you guys ever do the podcast? Did I miss it? I'm like, no, Nick, we weren't able to do it. It was my brother's fault. But the reason I want to talk about Nick a little bit, he is a rookie and he's been fast right out of the box. All year he's been fast, but he hasn't been able to start up front because of the rookie rule. You got to run 3 races before they let you start up front. So this was his night to start up front. He started on the pole, and he was a little nervous about it, but he did a great job. Held his line. He did, sometimes when people are leading the race and they get past, they panic and wreck. He didn't do that. He took what the car would give him that night, and he finished 4th. Great run by Nick Kilmer. I think he's going to have a great season.
Yeah, he held off another car. Let's see who here. Scott Riggleman.
Yeah, Scott Riggleman finished 5th. I started 8th and finished 5th. Ryan Flores. Ryan Flores is a tire changer for Penske on which car is he?
Blaney's car.
Yeah, Ryan Blaney. He's a tire changer on Ryan Blaney. Since the Cup guys were at Pocono, he was able to come home to Wall Stadium and race. He raced one of Shannon Monjo's cars. Ryan finished 6th. John Bowers was 7th. Matt Bedesta, who won his heat race. I finished 2nd to Matt in the 3rd heat race of the night. Matt was running great. He finished 8th. Tim Majak was 9th. Johnny Carpenter was 10th. Joey Helberg, who was driving Jimmy Herbert's number 71 car because Jimmy's son wasn't able to race it. So Joey Helberg jumped in and raced for those guys. He finished 11th. Shannon Monjo was 12th. Oh, God, this guy's name. Robert Patinsky. He was 22. We call him Taz. So Taz was 13th. Ricky Collins, modifieds were off. Ricky Collins does have a factory stock, so he drove a factory stock. He finished 14th. Kevin Flores, former guest on the RPM podcast, was 15th. Billy Booth, 16th. Tony Bartone, 17th. Nancy Riggleman, 18th. Welling Spears, 19th. Robert Slack, 20th. Matt Malachaka was 21st. Richie Burns was 22nd. And Mike Montano won to Dairy Queen.
That's a good finish for Kevin Flores.
Yeah, I mean.
That was terrible. That was such a terrible joke, and
he's getting better and better.
Yeah, we had 23 cars, very stout field, and we only had 1 caution, so it was a lot of side-by-side racing and a lot of fun to race.
I heard everybody saying what a great race the factory stocks put on.
Yeah, it was.
They had a little action after the race too, from what I was reading on Facebook.
What was that?
Elliott and Mikey got together in the race, and then after the race, Mikey chased him up pit road, and they were ordering him, "Don't do it, don't do it, don't do it," and he did it.
Yeah.
So he got DQ'd here, and he might even have to sit out a couple weeks. And it's a shame. Mikey's great to race with, and really, he hit Elliott. Let it go. You know what I'm saying?
Honestly, I could see it going either way with either one of them.
Yeah,
I could see it happening both ways. That's.
You know what? Not that it would happen or it should happen, but in an altercation like that, I mean, let's face it. At the end of the day, maybe not right now, but Elliott and Mikey are friends. Scott and Elliott and Mikey are all friends. If something like that happens in the pits, as long as the state doesn't get involved and nobody got hurt, if I was the promoter of the track, I'd call Elliott and Mikey on Wednesday. And say,
Elliott was saying that. Elliott feels so bad. Elliott's like, I didn't mean to spin him, and then.
Well, I would say, all right,
you know,
Mikey.
Elliott's like, could he call the track and say, please don't disqualify?
Yeah, exactly. I'd have him on the phone just like we are right here and say, all right, Mike, you were told not to do that. You did it. Elliott, it's your call. Does Mikey get out for 2 weeks?
But the reason they can't do that is because it was dangerous. You know,
that's to say, as long as the state's not involved and everything else.
He flew up pit road, and he was in, like, the dirt, you know, where the ambulance is parked, like passing cars up pit road.
All right.
Yeah, and the real funny part, I was only a couple of cars behind there, and they were screaming on the radio, "Mikey, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it." And I look up, and not only did he do it, and he knew they were watching him from the tower, but when I looked up, Diane was standing right there in the pits because she was walking over to Tech to scan the tires. So he did it right in front of the big boss. So, I mean, that was like, you know, like killing somebody in front of the sheriff, you know.
That's like getting called from your mother doing something. You might turn around, your mom's standing right there.
But, you know, hopefully he doesn't get thrown out too bad. I mean, he did lose all his points that night. That's a pretty severe penalty.
He did hit another car when he was in there.
He did. And he was warned not to do it. You know, I mean, it was a bad situation. And I have talked to Mikey since, and he said that he just lost his cool, and we all do over there.
I think that's probably got to be at least a 3-week suspension. It's like
that's what I heard too. I did talk to Mikey's father today. I'm friends with the Montanos too. We all are. I did talk to Mikey's father. He said they're going to go try Riverhead while they're thrown out of here. They do have they're going to make a few changes to their cars and run with the street stocks out there.
Are they going to replace it with a shell of a tank? Because, I mean, he's going to come back with an entirely new body or something if he goes to Riverhead.
I don't know if you've ever been to Riverhead or not, but the racing in Riverhead's pretty good, man. They don't.
I'm not saying it's bad racing. I'm just saying that
they don't wreck as much as you think they do. They body slam there, but they don't wreck as much as you think they do there.
And what happened at Riverhead too is, you know, they do have all new owners now, and Eddie Partridge is doing a good job. He has like a 0 fight tolerance. You get in a fight, you're thrown out. It's that simple. They do have he did bring like a race director in from New England that has no favoritism, and he's doing a great job. And what happened was the 8-cylinder Enduro division, the cars got so advanced that they started calling them street stocks. And they're similar to what we have. I mean, they have locked rears, we don't. You know, they have a few different things, but Mikey can make a few changes on his car and go over there and race, you know. I wish him well, you know. I hope to see him back at Wallace too, you know.
Scott Tapley is the director there.
Okay. I was just going to say, going off of what Jerry Koenig had said, you know, he started at Riverhead, and I think he said he ran 4 weeks there, and 3 of those weeks he had to change fenders.
He changed fenders at Wall Stadium too. So
yeah, well, I know he likes to have his car looking pretty too, but
yeah, I know. There's times he's like, oh, I had to put a whole nose piece and 2 fenders, and I'm like, no, you didn't. You could just bang them out and touch them up with paint. You know what I'm saying? Car's looking undented.
Yeah, but it's more like Tim said with the body slamming. I mean, you know, if he wants his car to look pretty, that might not be the best place for it. But
all right, so moving to the 4-cylinder division, they had 2 races. Like I said, the first one was won by Ronnie Mullen. Second was Neil Rutt. Third was Alonzo Morales. 4, Ryan Marr. 5, Mike Lavery. 6, Brian DeSarno. 7 was Randy Hart. 8 was Jeff Loesch. 9th was Sal Laguari. Darian McLaren was 10th. Doug Ashford was 11th. Bill Schwartz was 12th. Deanna McLaren was 13th. Chuck McDonald 14th. Oh boy, that's a tough name. Marco
Vuksanic.
He did better than me. He was 15th. Nicole Rosano was 16th. Oh, our buddy Aaron Lanneman was racing 17th.
What was he doing out there?
I don't know, but he's got the RPM podcast curse because he finished dead last.
He was a starting park. It's okay.
Okay. All right. That's pretty good, though. 17 four-cylinders. That's a good turnout for the four-cylinder guys.
Actually, do you think he spun and self-reported thinking it was lemons?
Yeah. The second four-cylinder stock feature was won by Jeffrey Loesch. Neil Rutt was second. Good night for Neil Rutt. Two second-place finishes. Morales, again, was third. Randy Hart was fourth. Darian McLaren was fifth. Sal Ligari was sixth. Nicole Rosano was seventh. Eighth was Schwartz. Chuck McDonald ninth. Marr was 10th. Ashford 11th. Avery 12th. Sarno 13th. Ronnie Mullen unfortunately went from 0 to 0. He finished 14th in the second one after winning the first one. And 15th was Deanna McLaren again. That's pretty cool. That's Darian's sister. She's new to racing this year. She just moved up from the Sunday Series where Tim's daughters race. She's in the four-cylinder division.
I heard there was a little bit of drama in that second four-cylinder race involving Deanna. Basically saying that she was holding the low line because she's rookie and was getting lapped and getting passed. And Lavery had come around her and cut down across her nose and basically got himself turned around, and she just kept her foot in it.
I did watch the video of that, and it was not Deanna's fault at all. She was down low. He cleared himself too soon. He came down. He thought he had her passed, and he came down, and there was nothing Deanna can do.
That's where a spotter would come in, Josh Matthews.
Well, she could have. All right, look. She's nice and she's new and all that, but if she had lifted, do you think he could have saved it and it could have gone?
No, he came out so quick. The damage was already done.
Okay.
I think it was a point where she had to finish him off, or she would have been wrecked. You know what I'm saying? No,
yeah.
She did nothing wrong in that situation.
I just bringing it up for conversation.
All right.
I disagree on the spotters, though. I do, because I think
for anybody that doesn't know what we're talking about, Josh, me and Josh are going back and forth a little bit on our pre-race texting about spotters. We're just making inside jokes.
I think spotters are a good thing, but I think if you tried to make the four cylinders and the factory stocks, and you got everybody involved in having a spotter, I think you'd spread the talent too thin for getting spotters for these guys. And there are.
I don't know about that. There's enough superstars that want to be spotters. I'll find everyone in that factory stock division a spotter, if that's the problem.
If you think so, because there are bad spotters out there, right, Tim?
According to who you're talking to, yes, there are. I guess there's bad something in everything. You know what I mean?
So my fear is there are people that think that may spot or think that they are good spotters.
The most honest way I can ask that question, people ask me all the time, hey, I need a spotter. How's this guy? I mean, I honestly don't know because I don't hear other people spot. You got to ask the driver that he spots for. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's just people out there that don't like the way that I do it. You know, it's driver's preference.
There's chemistry between the guys, right?
Yeah.
But there's also, I know some people, even friends of mine, that I think are great, and I love having them at the track and help with the car and changing tires and stuff like that, but I wouldn't trust them as a spotter.
All right, moving to the Josh Matthews Gold Star Approval Sportsman. Kyle Sisko still kicking ass in that division. He got the win. Jared Tommaso was second. Louis Carretas was third. Michael Rising was fourth. Robert Stuffin fifth. Eric Lane sixth. Tommy Martino seventh. John McCormick eighth. Jake Nelke ninth.
Good. I'm sorry. Good.
Carson DJ Tommaso was 10th. There was only 10 sportsman cars. I'm starting getting a little nervous about this sportsman division. It's the second week in a row they only had 10 cars.
I think that's the right size. That you talk about NASCAR and the stands. I think the sportsman division is like 10 is right sizing.
Yeah.
You know who's getting better is that Tommy Martino Jr. He's still got a way to go, but when he first started, his ties with Tommy, his dad is such a nice guy, and the first couple times out there, I was like, oh man, I don't know if this is what this kid needs to be doing. And now he's gotten a lot better. He's still got more to learn, but in the short period of time that he's raced, he's shown vast improvement. You know?
I mean, they pit right next to me, and I talk to Tommy all the time. He's never really raced anything. He never did the quarter midget thing or the go kart thing or the four-cylinder. He jumped right into a sportsman. And he's catching on quick.
Yeah, he's doing really good. He's getting better.
I mean, tell you what, you say Tommy Senior is a nice guy, man. Tommy Junior, he's a great guy. Yeah. He's definitely a nice kid to talk to. Moving on to the late model division. Once again, only 5 cars. It's such a shame. Shannon Monjo took the win again. Chris Silvestri was second. Mike Tillett third. Craig Castelli fourth. Jimmy Mormon was fifth. In the second race, they only had 4 cars. Shannon Monjo, Mike Tillett, Silvestri was third, and Jim Mormon was fourth. I did get to talk to Shannon a little bit. He's doing something pretty cool this weekend, and I'm really wishing him well on this venture. Him and Rob decided to do a little traveling with that late model. They're actually going to Evergreen on Friday night to race the late model at Evergreen Speedway. And then Saturday morning, they're going to stay over. They're going to stay over Friday night somewhere out that way. And then Saturday morning, they're heading out to Jennerstown Speedway to race a late model race at Jennerstown on Saturday night. Jennerstown's a great racetrack.
Beautiful racetrack.
Something I'm going to pay attention to. I mean, Shannon's a great driver. Rob's great at setting up race cars. They're going to a couple of different racetracks and doing a little traveling with that late model. I really wish Shannon and Rob well, and I hope everything goes good.
While we're on the late model talk, it was at Sunday series. Someone had come over and was talking to Mom, and they said how terrible that class is. You know, there's only 4 cars, blah, blah, blah. For one thing, I want to say that division is expensive. You might as well build a modified if you're going to build one of those things. And I'm sure the payout's got to be a lot different for that than a modified. But it made me remind me of back in the day. It's a shame because back in the day, that was we were kids. That was one of the best divisions there. You had Brian Sisko and Glenn Osborne and Lee Taylor and all, and Butch Colosimo. Remember, Scott? That was it's a shame. They were
beautiful race cars back then, too.
Oh, yeah, they were. I think Mr. Sisko built most of them. Steve Springstill built a lot of those, right?
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, he hung a lot of the bodies on them, too.
Yeah, they were – I don't know if you ever saw any of that, Josh, but that before your time, that was great racing.
Yeah, that was before me.
Even the one Crazy Eddie's car, they basically took a Camaro clip up to Troyer. Yeah, Troyer built the car. All right.
Do you think that soon we'll be seeing the factory stocks becoming, the street stock late model?
Scott's talked about that before.
They're already calling them street stocks. You've been noticing that? A lot of people have been even calling them street stocks. Yeah. Something else I want to talk about too at Wall Stadium. Apparently, they lifted the camera ban at Wall Stadium. I noticed at the tour race the camera ban was lifted, and I noticed Saturday there was people there with cameras and posting.
I was under the impression it was only supposed to be for the tour race, unless they've changed their mind since then.
I heard the camera ban was listed for this Saturday for the sole reason that most of the track photographers were up at Pocono.
Yeah, I know JJ was.
Yeah, JJ, Jim Smith.
I'm sure Jim Smith was. Yeah.
Well, look, just my personal opinion. I think we all agree it's better for the track to let the people take their photos. And
if people enjoy taking pictures, they'll pay the $18 to get in the grandstands and bring a camera and take pictures.
Listen, Scott can verify. When I go to any racetrack, I always buy pictures from the photo stand, and I'll admit I do. If somebody puts a good picture up on Facebook, I will use it on my own social media, but I do support both. I understand both sides of the story, but it's I can't see it being wrong. If people see pictures on people's Facebook, that's what a lot of people go to the races to do, is to post pictures of where they are, what they're doing, and you know what I mean?
Well, let me put this out there too, and I think Scott will most likely agree with me on this. There was one track photographer we had, Randall Farhi. And he was like the only guy that really took an interest in the factory stocks. I mean, if they were out there, Ace and Jim Smith, there would be a couple factory stock photos, but everything was always about the modifieds. Well, I want a picture of the damn factory stocks. And Randall was the only guy that actually, gave us the time of day, it seemed. And I just think that there's been an issue where sometimes people want a picture, like, parents might want a photo of their kid's car out there, and they go through and they can't find any because maybe he was a back marker or something like that. So let them take a picture of their kid's car.
So this is just a little tip to anybody that's having this problem. In JJ's defense, if you want to picture your race car, just go up and tell him. Say, hey, JJ, I need a right side picture 8x10 of my car for my sponsors. I did it the other day, and he got it for me. You know what I'm saying? So if there is a guy out there that's, like Josh says, a back marker and there's no pictures of him out there, just grab one of the photographers. They'd let, just say, hey, I need a picture of my car. I'm the number 09 blue factory stock. I need pictures of it. And they'll take them for you. They'll take care of you.
Oh, they're great guys. It's just I could see where sometimes the people might want I
just like when people post on Facebook too, because they're sitting in the grandstands. They're at a different angle. They could be down in turn one, or it's they might catch something the professional photographers don't, just because they're in a different area or sitting somewhere else. Just more chances of getting different type pictures.
Oh, I can't tell you how. If you want to go into video, I can't tell you how many things Big Jim has missed, or on video. Big wrecks and things like that. And
even as it being a spotter, you can only be looking at one place at one time.
Yeah,
An official, and officials have the same problem. They can't see.
Oh, no, those officials, they see everything.
All right, Sunday series.
No, Demo Derby.
I don't know anything about it. Tim,
you know who won?
They didn't post the results. Was it good?
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know. Like I said, I got out of there, but there was well-built cars, and they were going down, but I had to get out of there.
Any Cadillacs that you saw?
I tell you what, every car there was a pre-ran demo car, and they were hard to tell what they were.
That was a folded-up one.
Anyway, to the Sunday series, they finally got their first race of the year in, right, Tim? That was their very first race of the year.
First competition races. Yeah, we had practice.
Okay.
The first race.
So June 2nd, 2019, the Modified Microstocks RPM podcast listener Tom Irvin won. Mike Fox Jr. was second. Jim Van Dyne was third. Ashley Taylor was fourth. Our buddy Robin Irvin, she raced. She was fifth. Pat Hannigan was sixth. And Alan
Puntaseca.
Did she list the number of the car?
No,
it doesn't say.
Because there was a race that it was one of the 99s, and it was it was a yellow car. I think it was 21 or something. And it must have been that race. 'Cause I remember it being early. What a battle those two guys did! It was they passed each other lap after lap after lap. They never got a better run. What a race that was! And I think the 99 did end up winning, so that must be that race. What a hell of a job those two guys did. I just wanted to say that.
Now, there is two different microstocks. That was the modified microstocks. There's WF microstocks. I'm pretty sure that says for World Formula microstocks. That was won by Bob Wagner. Daniel Kreider was second. Dalton Rivera was third. Tyler Wagner was fourth. Ryan Baxter was fifth. Josh Barry was sixth. Mike Fox Jr. was seventh. Harry Bird was eighth. Andrew Schuster.
Ninth.
And then ninth. And then Richie P was 10th. And here's a familiar name, Ron Freeze. Ron Freeze was 11th. So I guess Ron Freeze was there racing on the Sunday series. It's pretty cool. Ron's a great guy and great racer. Senior champs were won by Mike Brennan. Mike Brennan's another former factory stock driver, street stock driver.
No relation to the flaky Eric Brennan.
No, he showed up on time there. He made the race. Chris Kramer was second. Dave South was third. Cody Critelli was fourth. Mike Burney was fifth. Joe Parker Jr. was sixth. And Kurt Labor was seventh.
Joe Parker Jr. is the Truex kid.
Yeah, that's Tammy Truex's
son. Yes,
son, Barney Truex Sr.'s grandson.
Okay,
he's got cool looking cars too. I know. His car is sponsored by Monster, right?
Yeah, he's big. He's young. He's not old.
No, he's a young kid.
And I'm amazed about how much of the history of modified racing he's into. Like, his car last year was
just painted like
Big Barney's car. Yeah. He's a good kid. He's got a lot to learn. He's learning. He's a good. You can tell he came from a good racing family. Like he knows there's history behind what he's doing.
All right. The junior champs were won by Will Cloud, followed by Alex Gretz, Eric Zank, Tyler Ritchie, Steve Puglisi, and Mike Hall. The red plates. Here's a familiar name: Alexis Riggleman in the black 09. Sponsored by Riggleman Towing. Howie Conk. There's another familiar name. His father races late models. Bailey Riggleman was third. Good job, Bailey. and Kevin Davison Jr., whose father Kevin Sr. races the modifieds at Wall Stadium, was fifth. Then we moved to the blue plates. Tim, can you explain the plates? That's the slides, right?
It's a slide. It's like a restrictor plate.
Okay, so the red plates are smaller than the blue plates.
Yeah.
Okay. The blue plates were won by Kevin Bird, followed by Alex Rogers, which is Mark Rogers' son, Tim.
Yes.
Aiden Grotz and Chevy Raleigh. Oh, there's a racing name, Josh. Chevy Raleigh. Raleigh. Chevy Raleigh. Yeah, there's a racing name.
Rowdy Raleigh.
Aiden Spencer was in that race too. That's Charlie's son that goes racing with Jimmy.
Maybe they had it wrong then because it says
No. He finished after that kid. He dropped out early.
Oh, okay.
He got into a wreck and had some right front damage.
Okay.
Definitely in that race.
All right. Senior 206 was run by Jim Hall, followed by Mike Brennan. Kerry Owen is another guy that used to race all the time with us. Mike Bean, Howie Conk, Leanne, and then it's just Leanne and Kevin Me.
No,
so
me.
That was your Sunday Series then. Tim was at the Sunday Series race. He did show up a little bit late because he got home late from Seekonk. He did express some concern that there was a fire up in the pits. Can you tell us a little bit about that, Tim?
I didn't go into the pits because about the time I got there, it wasn't really worth it for me to spend the money. The work was already done. Do you know what I mean? As far as going, so I was in the grandstand, and there definitely was a fire there, and it looked like it was pretty bad. The only thing I can tell you about the driver is that as far as Bailey and Alexis knew, they were told he was okay. So I don't know what happened or why it caught on fire, but yeah, that was scary. That's the first time that's happened since we've been going.
So
they got it.
Were they like staged or?
It was after the race. Like the smoke was coming from over where like Tech is. They used the same Tech shack as you guys would on a Saturday night. So to me, it looked like something must have been hot after the race, and maybe something was leaking, or maybe they were checking fuel and the guy was taking fuel out of the hot engine. I'm not sure. You know what I mean? That's all speculation on my part. I don't know what was happening over there, but luckily there were some fire extinguishers close, and I guess they got it out in time.
Well, Sunday wasn't without its own drama, too. I saw a few Facebook posts of people or somebody was upset with one of the officials over.
Did that post get taken down? Because I looked for it.
Yeah, quickly, yeah.
Okay.
It did get taken down quickly. I don't know. I have no idea what that was about. And that was pretty somebody was writing that fast and angry, so it wasn't the clearest post I ever, you know what I mean? It was a little, there was some words missing and stuff, so you kind of had to decipher what they were trying to talk about, and I have no idea what that was about. So
somebody was really upset about something and was claiming that there was favoritism. It seemed that's what I gathered out of it. And
there's always favoritism in racing. Well, what the hell was probably Jimmy Blewett's fault at the end of the day?
Or his spotter.
Yeah, or a spotter. As far as Alexis's race goes, she did really well. She held her own line. The kid behind her, Howie's kid, was he was faster at the end of the straightaway. Like Alexis was going in a little softer, but she was coming out better. And I'll tell you what, I've spotted for a lot of drivers for a lot of laps. A 10-lap go-kart race when your daughter's leading for her first victory is the longest 10 laps I've ever watched at a race ever in my life. It seemed like it took forever, but she did a good job. And Bailey finished a close third. Bailey's right there. There was actually one opportunity where Alexis actually hesitated, and the kid behind her, Howie's kid, he hesitated too, and Bailey could have easily blew by them both, but unfortunately she hesitated too, and I made sure I told her after the race, next time you just go right around. And she said that she was so nervous for Alexis that she was just watching what Alexis was doing. She didn't even care if she won. She wanted Alexis to win. You know, she was that focused on Alexis winning, so that was Alexis's first competition win other than when she's been out there with her and just Bailey. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
How does Bailey take it when her sister wins and she doesn't?
They were fine. They were, like I said, Bailey was more worried about Alexis winning than she was herself. She was okay with it. They were happy and hugging and everything. So far so good. But, you know, she didn't pass Bailey for the win. If she passed Bailey for the win, might be a different story.
Well, congrats, Tim.
And I want to thank Kristen Coca. She was the only photographer there covering the event, and I wanted a picture to put on Facebook, and she got one to me as quickly as she could. So I want to thank her for that. That she did that for me.
That's awesome.
And of course, it's just good to be there, and those guys do the best job they can officiating. I know I can't sit here and say I've never had an issue with those guys, but it happens, and it's hot, and it's everybody's at least second day of racing. Most people were there on Saturday, or I was in Massachusetts, and by the end of the day, people were tired and cranky, and sometimes things happen, but they do the best job they can with what they got. They're working with kids. They're not working with Mario Andretti out there. Half those kids don't even know what the flags mean, let alone what the rules are. So,
well, it's good that they're out there and doing it, though. And
yeah, that's what I'm saying. There was not that it's a big deal. I mean, this might sound funny, but there was a good crowd of the grandstand. I bet you there were 75 people there at one point, which is.
Well, that's something I want to point out, too. If you're driving around on a Sunday and you're bored and you're looking for something to do, it's free to get in the grandstands to go watch these kids race.
Totally free, yeah. And the food shack was open and everything. I'm not going to say it's a great time, but you can go there it's free,
Yeah, it's. I mean, the track's not making a whole lot of money off of this when the kids are out there, but I'm glad that they do it.
It's where the next generation is going to come from,
Exactly. That and the quarter midgets. And that's its own cluster.
Entity, yeah. Oh, and I do want to say, thumbs up to Mike for Mike's performance. One thing about go-kart racing over there was never a parts vendor there. Like if you didn't, you could have broke a 5-cent part, and if nobody had it, you're done for the day. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And Mike has taken the time out to. He doesn't have everything by any means yet, but he's actually he messaged me a couple times. He's asking questions on what he should bring. He's kind of got like a list if something breaks and somebody asks for it, he'll have it next time. He's starting to build an inventory for, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So thank you for that. That's a good thing to have. He did have tires and rims. He had all the oils and stuff that you would need, which is important. And he had some safety. There's been people over there. It's like anything else. Somebody forgot their gloves or somebody forgot their shoes. You know what I mean? They're kids.
Oh,
so
yeah.
He's got all that stuff, and he's building. That's good. He's building an inventory, and I hope he keeps that up to support both the Sunday Series and the quarter midgets because we desperately need that.
No, that's awesome. I think I actually saw him drive by today when I was going to my appointment, but. That's another story. Real quick, I wanted to wrap up New Egypt. They had their salute to our veterans on Saturday. Blech, easy for me to say. Ryan Godown got the win there for the.
I heard he lapped up to like third place.
I don't have the my laps up for that, but I do know that he beat P.J. Oliver in second. Mike Butler in third. Fourth was Danny Book. 5, Junior Fulper. Oh, that was bad. 6, Wade Hendrickson. 7th, Davey Sammons. 8th, Brian Papiez. 9th, Cale Ross. And 10, Rich Rutsky. And beyond that, you got to do better. Larry's Hot Rods and Harleys. Northeast Wingless Sprint cars. They had a 20-lap feature. Larry Drake with the win. Jermaine Godshall in second. Stan Plosky third. Rich Meller in fourth. Dwayne Nixon in fifth. Heidi Hedden, in sixth. Jeff Shaw seventh. Eighth was Al Cheney. Ninth was Brad Shaw. No relation because it's spelled completely differently, but man, this is frustrating. And 10th, Charlie Wazlowski. Crate Modifieds, they had a 20-lap feature. Johnny Bangs first. Just remember that. Second was Bobby Halsworth. Third was Joe Toth. Fourth, Ryan Heim. Fifth, Eric Palmer. Sixth, DJ Hunt. Seventh, Ryan Simmons. Eighth, Howie Finch. Ninth, Vinny Troya. Hey, haven't heard that name in a while.
He won the rookie feature too.
Yes, I see that. That's next in line. 10th was Robbie Dunn. So, yes, the rookie feature, 8 laps. Vinny Troya, DJ Hunt, Nick Van Wickle, Anthony Tramontana, Zach Marola, Ryan Krasniski, Jim Van Wickle. And the Mike's Performance 4-cylinders. TJ Graves with the win. Now, I have to call out TJ as being a liar because he had messaged me saying, yeah, it's pretty bad. I don't know what we're going to do. And then I got another message. Yep, we're done for the year. Can't afford to rebuild, and we don't want to chance at the Junkyard Motor. Now he goes out and freaking wins. So I called him out in the messenger, but TJ, the hell, man. Second, Mike Fox. Third, Dom Antonelli. Fourth, Justin Dunn. Fifth, Jim Avery. Sixth, Joe Gary Sr. Seventh, Joe Gary Jr. Eighth, Penny Horner. 9, Joe Cialella. Chalella? I don't know. Chalalala. 10th, Ryan Cummings. So, yeah, good show for them. I wish we had more coverage of that, but,
Did you see the cool thing they did? They had whoever wanted to, all the veterans would come up to the flag stand, and all the drivers came in and shook their hand.
No, I didn't see that.
There was a video on Facebook.
That's really awesome that they did that, though.
Yeah, all the modified drivers, I guess any driver that wanted to, came out and shook all their hands, and I think they all gave them a hat or something. I don't know. Okay. They were all holding something in their hand. So that was pretty cool.
Well, good for them. I mean, they're keeping it going and keeping it interesting. So,
just one quick thing with the local stuff before we get to what have we learned, because Lee Allen always yells at us. I just want to. They did have an 8-cylinder Enduro. Like I said, me and Nancy weren't able to go because we were racing at Wall Stadium. I just want to give the results of that. There's only 7 cars because, like I said, we were racing at Wall, and there's a couple Pennsylvania guys that couldn't make it because they were racing elsewhere too. Lee Allen did win. Derek Jones was second. Jason Duvall was third. John Parker was 11th. Gary Barone was 5th. John Barone was 6th, and Sean Wall was 7th. So I just wanted to touch base on that because Lee likes us talking about Bridgeport down there.
Did Lee Allen ever get rid of his raccoon?
I don't know. I'll ask him. I'll see him this Saturday. I'll ask him.
Yeah, Lee, send me a message. Let me know what you did with the raccoon, or if you made stew or something. I don't know. I have. Is it all done with your Bridgeport, Scott?
What's that?
You all done with Bridgeport?
Am I all done with?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just wanted to give that quick result.
You have anything else, Josh? Before I give my
No, here, go ahead.
Our biggest critic, Scooter, actually took the time out to do some RPM research for us.
Oh boy!
As many of you know, this has to do with racing because you go by the exit 98 rest area. They redid that on the Parkway.
Yep. And
we go by traveling to tour racing. They rebuilt it and they put a restaurant in there called the Shake Shack.
Mm-hmm.
And Scooter went there and did RPM research. He wanted me to say that the shakes are horrible.
Oh, really?
Wow.
The French fries are awesome. The cheeseburgers are awesome, but he did not like the special sauce. He suggests that you get it without special sauce and get ketchup. If anybody knows Scooter, he loves special sauce. So it must be bad. And he said,
you know what? Scooter's also very picky. And negative, like Josh. So the shakes are probably pretty good too.
I don't know. I've done a lot of shake testing with Scooter over the years, traveling with him. His shake thing is usually pretty good. I'm going to say
also
that
a smoker too. Smoker's got different taste buds than
while we're on the subject, if you want my honest opinion, Chick-fil-A has the best fast food shakes.
What about Sonic? Aren't they famous for their shakes too?
They are, but they're okay. They're more thicker. They're more like ice cream in a cup, where you got to use a spoon.
I think I'm still boycotting Sonic because we bought the house and within a month the first Sonic in New Jersey closed.
The Sonic in Red Bank closed too.
That Sonic didn't last long down by you, Josh. I was only over for about a year.
A couple of years.
They're more of a southern thing. They're really not taking off up north.
No, the one in Red Bank closed too.
North Carolina was doing all right. Or no, I'm sorry. No, Connecticut was doing all right with them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Josh, another thing I heard too, that they're closing down that power plant down by you. You hear anything about that?
Oh yeah, it's offline. They're in decommissioning stage, so there's still radioactive stuff. So don't move to Waretown.
Why did it close down? Do you know?
Probably gonna blow up.
Just too old.
Basically, to continue, they were cleared to operate till 2026, I believe it was. But if they continued operating past this year or next year, they were going to have to make really expensive upgrades to like the cooling tower and stuff like that. And because of how old the plant was, they said, "Yeah, nah, never mind." And so nothing was actually unsafe. It was just a lot of money was going to have to be spent to upgrade it in the next couple of years. So they elected to just go with shutting it down instead.
With that said, there's a good miniseries on HBO right now about Chernobyl blowing up.
Everybody's talking about that.
Tonight is actually the 4th episode or the 5th episode. I always watch it at 12 o'clock after we do the podcast. It's pretty scary that how we're told that those things are so safe, but when they go, it's a problem.
There is one difference. America in North America or the United States, they only use.
They haven't gotten to the part yet where we go to help them.
Well, we only use boiling water reactors, and we only use enriched uranium. They use plutonium, which is another big problem over there. So, generally, ours are safer.
All I can tell you from watching that show so far, if one blows up, don't pick up the graphite because your hand will melt right off.
I promise I won't.
Places we never think we're gonna go. This by the way, Tim, Chernobyl was not on the show doc here, so.
So, speaking of the Gen 7 car for NASCAR, nuclear power is going to be
the miniseries Chernobyl.
I gotta talk about different things once in a while.
All right,
we didn't mention the Madhouse for Eric.
The what? Who?
Burt Myers chose to.
The fans challenge.
Where you start last and come back to the field, and which is hard to do at Bowman Gray. And Burt Myers did it. Passed a lot of cars on the outside.
Yeah, but it's Burt Myers and a lot of cars wrecked.
Very, very impressive. Right, that's impressive anyway. And I think that Burt Myers racing with the guys up north has made him that much better of a driver. And he showed it this weekend. He did. That's an impressive move. I know it's Bowman Gray, yeah. But
what about that pro wrestling 4-cylinder finish there?
Oh, yeah. Somebody sent a video of that, right? Was that done?
5 wide, right? 5 wide across
I think it was 4 wide across the line, and yeah, I mean it was a pylon, and it was. I mean, it wasn't that bad, but it was still kind of. I mean, I guess it was kind of exciting, but it was also still like, well, you could have gone this way instead of that, or they didn't need to get into each other, but whatever. I guess it wasn't the aggressive. You wreck me, so now I'm going to T-bone you and fight like the modifieds do every week there. So,
all right, guys, it's after 11 o'clock here. Let's get to what have we learned.
All right, Tim, you go first.
I learned Scott's getting cranky. It's after 11 o'clock. Besides that, I really don't have much. I wasn't paying that close attention tonight.
All right, Scott, what'd you learn?
I learned Jimmy Blewett's fuel pump went on the way home.
Oh, yeah, I broke Jimmy Blewett's truck. Yeah.
Tim broke Jimmy Blewett's truck on the way home.
First time I rode with Jimmy Blewett to a tour race in 15 years, and the truck's got to break as soon as I get behind the wheel.
I learned that my brother books towing gigs for me while I'm on the podcast, so I'll be towing Jimmy Blewett's truck tomorrow.
I also learned that I don't get commissions for them.
I don't get paid for the Blewetts. They do so much for me. I gladly do their cars for free. I learned Josh has power in Waretown this weekend.
Yep.
He's got his
nuclear power
taken care of. I learned Mikey Montano likes Dairy Queen.
Yes.
That's about. I learned Eric Brennan's back to his old ways.
Yep. Anything else?
It was good having him for a couple of weeks, so I enjoyed having him on the show.
It was fun.
Yeah.
While it lasted.
While it lasted. All right, Josh.
Today I learned Eric Brennan is a mushy type of guy.
He is. He's full of emotions, that guy.
I thought you meant his physical shape. I learned that you can't get Nancy to learn to leave a party. I learned
she
that
does not leave a party. Once she gets going, she does not want to leave. It's always one drink, couple minutes, hi and goodbye, and we're out of there. Never happens, man.
It's always I don't want to go, and then it's always I don't want to leave once you get there, right?
Mhm.
She's good at the Irish goodbyes, though. We do, when it is time to go, we just sneak out. We don't say goodbye to nobody. That's called an Irish goodbye. Did you ever hear about that, Josh?
No, I haven't. I'm going to start
it's
doing
called
that.
If you're at a party, it's called an Irish goodbye. You just disappear. You just leave.
Just gone out of there. I learned that Scott misses Klondike bars. I learned that Scott hates buttermilk, and I learned that. And I learned that Scooter doesn't like Tim's special sauce.
No, he likes my special sauce. the Burger King ones that he doesn't like.
There's a sound bite right there, Josh.
Yeah, there is.
Oh, I think we're going to end on that. Don't forget, Wall Stadium is having Formula Drift, so it's up to you.
Thompson in 2 days.
I mean, that's a big show.
Yeah.
Thompson, 2 days Wednesday. Thompson
Wednesday.
Okay.
Modified Tour. NASCAR Modified Tour. Wednesday night. Thompson Speedway.
Well, Tim, you have a safe trip up there, buddy.
6 o'clock in the morning, I'm leaving Wednesday.
Oof. Yeah, I have work. So.
Well, that is Tim's work. That's Tim's job.
Yeah. No. But that's why I can't go. I can't. To me, it's play. All right.
Quick question for you, Tim, before we get off air. You are going to Thompson 6 o'clock in the morning. Will you try to find another gig up there? Maybe do a late model spot or a Sunoco modified, or are you just going to do the tour?
First of all, I honestly don't know what's racing there with us. Mm-hmm. It being a Wednesday show. If someone approaches me, if the driver's worthy enough to do it, I would do it. I don't normally know.
We're not worthy.
Well, yeah. Well, that's not me being arrogant. That's just some guys that aren't worth getting yelled at for. You know what I'm saying? It goes back. Maybe they're the ones that don't need a spotter. We'll go with that. How's that sound?
Okay.
All right. Well, it's 11 p.m. Make a wish. That wraps up the episode 140 of the RPM podcast, and we will see you guys next week. Go to Wall.
Go to Wall.
Go to Wall.